Resident Evil Requiem has finally released. This is a title I've been looking forward to ever since its announcement as Summer Games Fest. So today I'm going to talk about my experience with Requiem, both the positives and how Requiem is celebrating the Resident Evil franchise. So let's talk about the newest Resident Evil title. Resident Evil Requiem delivers two horror experiences for Grace Ashcroft and Leon S. Kennedy. Grace's gameplay is classic survival horror gameplay. Think Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2 Remake, and even elements of Resident Evil 1 Remake, while Leon delivers horror action gameplay. Think Resident Evil 4 Remake with bits of Resident Evil 6. So you'll get two elements of Resident Evil gameplay combining into Requiem. Grace Ashcroft, our newest Resident Evil character, is a scaredy cat in the best way, finding herself in terrifying circumstances. While playing as Grace, you'll have limited ammo, so choosing how to use your bullets is vital. Do you take down a zombie or sneak past it, saving ammo? Grace is given a magnum at the start of the Chronic Care Center called the Requiem, a powerful revolver which is used more for a challenging enemy or getting out of a tight squeeze. Ammo for the Requiem is very scarce. The Blood Collector is a device Grace finds collecting infected blood from buckets or downed enemies can help Grace craft ammo, defensive knives, med injectors, and then the amazing hemolytic injectors. A mechanic which I loved from Resident Evil Remake is the Crimson Heads, more powerful zombies that come back after being downed, so choosing which body to discard was always interesting. And in Resident Evil Requiem, you get to do that again, but with the Blister Heads. They are absolutely terrifying, but with a handy hemolytic injector, you can easily prevent zombies coming back as them. I really loved that we got the choice with deciding which zombies we want to dispose of, whether it's quickly, stealthily taking them out with one of the injectors or preventing one of the corpses coming back. Something that I adored in Remake, and I'm really glad that they brought it back in kind of a spiritual successor with the Blister Heads for Grace's sections. I honestly enjoyed every section I got to play as Grace. I just love classic survival horror, and every single time I got to play as Grace, it just delivered pure survival horror every chance I got to play as her. I absolutely adored my time playing as Grace, and I feel like all of her sections are probably the biggest standout in this game to me. If you are a lover of that classic survival horror experience more and you're thinking about playing Requiem, you're honestly gonna have such a time playing as Grace. Leon S. Kennedy is the complete opposite. He's been going through bio attacks and outbreaks for years, so he has a lot more experience than Grace. He plays exactly like Resident Evil 4 Remake with the parries, the combos, getting a lot more weapons. He does have some special flashy finishes which kind of give me RE6 vibes. They were really fun when I randomly could pull them off. I also had a lot of fun playing as him in general. For this video, I played on Insanity, which I don't know what mental headspace I was in, but I loved going back through the care center, for example, taking out all the zombies I couldn't as Grace. He's like the cleanup crew. It was really fun. This is future me, but the second half of the gameplay is from the normal mode. I was getting too beat up on Insanity. I was generally losing my mind, so I'm not a pro. I thought I could do it. I can't. Overall, I loved the two different gameplay styles. When the trailers were coming out, I was actually quite worried on how I would react. Would I like one better more than the other? But overall, I think they did a good job. I enjoyed both characters. I still have my preference on which character and gameplay I preferred, which is Grace's survival horror, but I enjoyed playing both Grace and Leon. So why don't we celebrate some of the positives? And I can't really list everything from the first half of the game. So my positives are the first half of Resident Evil Requiem. The Renwood Hotel and exploring it as Grace was so interesting. It's probably one of the strongest intros they've had for a Resident Evil game in a long time. And getting the flashback sequence with Alyssa just melted my heart. And I'm still very sad, unfortunately, that her character died. I loved playing Alyssa in Outbreak, but the whole Renwood Hotel sequence was perfectly done, and even the introduction to Victor Gideon was so cool. I loved everything about the Renwood Hotel. The Road to Iconic Care Center as both Leon and Grace was absolutely so fun to play. The care center gives me huge vibes of Resident Evil 1 Remake Spencer Mansion and Resident Evil 2's RPD. I think they did a phenomenal job on the care center. I actually personally think in a few years' time, when we look back at Resident Evil Requiem, we're gonna look at the care center in the same light as the Spencer Mansion, RPD, Baker House. They just nailed everything on the head with the care center. On my first playthrough, I just thought, wow, where do I go? What am I doing? What do I need to go to? And the care center is huge. They just did great. They really nailed classic Resident Evil with the care center. Their enemies as well in the first half of Resident Evil Requiem are phenomenal. They're great. Zombies retain certain aspects of their personality or habits before they died. A lot of care went into how these zombies were going to be presented in Requiem, and you can clearly see that. They're phenomenal. I think they're probably one of my favorite type of zombies I've seen in a zombie game and a Resident Evil game in a long time. And some of the other bigger enemies like the new Stalker, the girl, and Chunk are really intimidating and really fun to go against. I think the girl is up there with Mr. X and Jack Baker. Like, she is truly terrifying. And Chunk was also really fun to go against. It was actually very satisfying putting an end to him as Leon in the attic. I think Resident Evil Requiem's goal was to celebrate a 30-year franchise. Getting to play as Grace Ashcroft, who is the daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft, a legacy character, was such a treat and such a sweet moment that they honoured Outbreak in this way. And Leon's been around since RE2, so it was lovely to see him again in a mainline entry. We haven't seen him in a mainline entry since 6, if we don't think about the remakes. And Sherry Birkin's back. I'm so happy. She was always one of the strongest parts of Resident Evil 6 for me, so I'm really glad that she's working alongside Leon in Requiem. I also think the little Easter eggs that they did for Requiem, paying homage to all the other games, was really well done. Like opening the hatch on the girl is similar to opening the hatch on the Queen Leech in RE0, or the parlor room is very similar to that one room in Code Veronica. Even the main hall of the Chronic Care Center is very similar to the layout of the Spencer Mansion. I even recently bought a Switch 2 with my own copy of Resident Evil Requiem, so I have it physically. And even though the hair textures aren't the best on the Switch, it runs quite well. If you have a Switch 2 and want to get Requiem for it, I do highly suggest it. And it's also good to just have a physical copy. Even though I do have my criticisms on Requiem with certain characters, certain parts of story writing, and certain areas, I think Resident Evil Requiem delivered on what I wanted to do. I think Requiem coming out on the 30-year celebration of the Resident Evil franchise is such a nice way, and the game does honor all different aspects of Resident Evil in a single title. And after playing Requiem, I'm just excited on what's next for the franchise. What's next to get remade? What's Resident Evil 10 gonna be like? Are we gonna get a new side game or a new Revelations game? It's all really exciting if you ask me. And while maybe in a year's time I'll look deeper into Requiem and do a proper critical video on the game, the good and the bad, I'm very grateful this game came out on the 30th anniversary of Resident Evil, and I can't wait for the DLC that's planned. So I'm very grateful I got to play Requiem, and happy birthday to 30 years of Resident Evil. Hi, thank you so much for watching. I'm so sorry this video took ages to come out. I've been dealing with some life issues, but hopefully I'm fully back on track. If you'd like to see more videos from me, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. It's obviously your choice. And put in the comments below, what did you like about Requiem? What did you love or what did you not like? And how many times have you played the game? So hopefully I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Goodbye and take care.